today with integrative psychotherapist Mary Wilson to discuss the construct of narcissism. So it feels to me, Mary, like I hear this word narcissism in conversations all the time. It's kind of a term that's thrown around a lot at the moment. Is that something you've noticed as well?
Absolutely. There's a popular perception, I think, that if you've had an unpleasant experience with somebody, they are a narcissist. And in fact, narcissism is a very clear clinical condition. It's part of a group of conditions that have been known as personality disorder. That's changing, actually. But there is a clear clinical description of what a narcissist is. And it isn't somebody who's upset you.
Okay, or being a bit nasty or what have you. Okay, so how would you recognise a person with that disorder, the specific disorder then? What are the indicators you mentioned?
Okay, well, for a start, if you've had a bad experience with somebody and they have been openly unpleasant, uncooperative, even abusive and controlling, the chances are they're not a narcissist, because narcissists are very often very charming people.
Okay.
That is why they're so dangerous. They attract people to them. They are good company, pleasant to be with. They discard their friends as easily as they make them. And very, very often, long term, they don't have any close friends.
Okay.
In spite of their charm. Narcissists, one of the most outstanding characteristics that is noted clinically is that they are grandiose. That means that they believe that they are intrinsically better. And it's not in terms of snobbishness, although it may manifest in terms of having the best, nothing but the best.
Okay.
But they do think that they are something apart, that it's an entitlement, but it's more than an entitlement as well. So they will strive to have high status in terms of where they live, the car they drive, the job that they might do, the friends that they have, but very often that's a facade. You can find that if you get behind the facade, there's debt, there's squalor, there's unemployment.
Okay, so that suggests that there is they're manifesting, or they're pretending almost to be something that they're not. But does that mean that other people on the outside world see that and believe that?
Well, the thing is that they're not pretending. They believe that the high status life is their due. That's where they belong. And it's not a snobbish thing. Again, it's that's just where their natural home is. So in a way, they're not lying, which makes it very plausible. They are very plausible. That's why they're dangerous. So they're not really living that kind of life. Narcissists very often suffer from low self-esteem, but it doesn't appear in a classic sense. In fact, it very, very seldom appears at all, except in extremis. Then they might become very upset, very distraught, and you can't do anything with them at times like that. They need a great deal of reassurance. This facade business is the main reason that they're damaging to others. They do not plan or intend to do harm. They're not psychopaths. They are very, very capable of empathy, sympathy, being supportive. They can do all that. They just don't often feel the need, because it has to be about them. Everything has to be about them.
Okay. So, what other behaviours or characteristics would a person with narcissism, would display?
Right, okay, so the grandiosity is key. It is, as I say, all about them. So if you are friendly with a narcissist, they might possibly ask you how you are, but you will barely get the words out of your mouth before you find yourself spending the rest of the time with them talking about them. In fact, I've known narcissists who went so far as to say, how are you? Let the person say, oh, well, and the next thing is, well, let's talk about me now. She was unusual in that she was quite open about it.
Okay.
So it has to be about them. You don't matter. And it's not that they behave towards you as you don't matter. It's that in their mind, only they matter.
Yeah.
And you don't. So they won't be very interested in you. They will have their own way, come what may.
Okay.
And they will use any means that they can to get their own way. They will delay a decision in order to get you to come round to agreeing with them. They will delay that decision indefinitely. They will manipulate, they will sulk, they will gaslight, they will do whatever it takes, but they will have things the way that they want them to be.
So you mentioned there the word gaslight, Mary. Can you describe what gaslighting is in particular? Because again, I've often heard people quite misunderstand this concept as just blaming you. It's much more than just blaming you, isn't it?
Yeah, it includes blaming you, which is perhaps where people misunderstand. But it is a series of behaviours, almost like a campaign, that make you doubt your own perception of the reality of a situation or a series of situations if you're living with somebody. So it might be simply denying that an event took place.
Okay.
It might be refusing to take responsibility in various ways. So they might shift the responsibility. Well, that wouldn't have happened if you hadn't done such and such, or I wouldn't have done that if you'd not made me feel such and such. Or they might tell you or spend some time convincing you that you're overreacting, that something that matters to you, that you're upset. Well, it's not really that serious. They may, one of the tricks is to say, well, nobody else thinks that. There's only you. Only you thinks that way. Another trick is to say, well, I only did that because I was thinking about you, because I care about you, and I'm trying to protect you, or I'm trying to look after you, or I'm trying to shield you. And it tends to be repeated, this kind, until you do, in fact, think, did I really?
So you question yourself, leads to self-doubt and questioning.
And you get into that state of mind where you no longer trust your own perceptions.
Okay. So just on the back of that then, Mary, what is it like for people who are in a relationship or marriage with somebody who does do that?
It's really difficult to identify what is going on. That's the first thing. Because, as I say, narcissists don't set out to hurt you. They don't set out to harm you. They are the most important thing in the world. They will have their own way, and you are just a byproduct. So they don't and because they don't set out to harm you, it's difficult to identify what is going on. So you begin to doubt your own perception of reality. You begin to lose self-esteem. You find yourself living a life that you didn't want and that you didn't choose, that you got talked into, and so you're very dissatisfied with your life. And as I say all the time, you're not quite sure how you got there, and why. Because this person is not being horrible to you, they're not being abusive, and they're not setting out to destroy you. But slowly, that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah. Okay. And what about people who are on the other side? So they've come out of a relationship with a narcissist. What's the long-term impact for those people who've managed to recognise that either they're not living the life that they set out to live, or have the relationship that they've wanted with somebody who is like that? What is it like for them after coming out of that relationship?
After any length of time, basically they find themselves sitting in the rubble of their own lives. They have to rebuild everything, but especially their self-esteem, their ability to trust, their ability to be in relationships with other people. I mean, romantic relationships. They may have lost touch with friends and even family. They may be up to their necks in debt. And they've got to start rebuilding all of that. It is a deeply damaging experience. And the longer they are in that relationship, the more damage is done.
Yeah, okay. And what would you suggest, Mary, for people who either suspect that they're struggling in a relationship like this, and they're recognising these types of behaviours?
Personally, I don't think there's any half measures. Leave. Narcissists are not going to go into therapy. Even when it works with narcissists, they're not going to present themselves for therapy. There's nothing wrong with them. It's everybody else. So, and you on your own are not going to change a narcissist. It's only going to get worse. See if you can reach out to a friend or family, somebody you can trust, get some support and leave. You have to cut off from a narcissist if you want the damage to end.
Okay. So Mary, I've worked with a client in the past who was in a narcissistic relationship, and asked me the question, doesn't that person that they're in a relationship with deserve to be loved? What are your thoughts on that?
I think we can ask that about anybody. I think most of us get loved at some time or another by somebody. Do we deserve it? Do we have to deserve it? Do we want to have to deserve it? And a narcissist is no different. I would say that a narcissist, in my experience, get more than their fair share of love because of their charm. But at the same time, somebody who loves a narcissist needs to know that they are dangerous, that they will damage you, to maybe to a lesser extent if you know what you're dealing with, but they are deeply damaging people, and you may feel sorry for them. You may even empathise with them, but still they will hurt you. So love them by all means, but you need to know that you're dealing with something very dangerous and behave accordingly.
And so maybe the question is, do you love yourself enough to put up with that type of behaviour?
I think you have to be at least as important as a narcissist. Which you are.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mary, for those really valuable insights on NPD. Join us again soon for more discussions on topics in psychology and therapy. It's bye for now from the Talking Therapies Centre.